Dan Flickinger here with the Westmoreland Sports Network, and I'm really excited to be talking to one of the newest draftees of the Oakland A's from Seton Hill University, Aidan Layton. Aidan, thank you so much, man, for taking some time out of your crazy, crazy schedule. I know it's a whirlwind for you right now, but so happy for you. Congratulations on being drafted, signing a few days ago before we recorded this interview, and I know how much hard work you put in, so congratulations for realizing your dream.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Oh, dream come true.
Well, we have a lot of things to get into, man. When your dream came true, it was when your phone rang on draft day. So give me a sense of, what kind of was going through your mind when you were waiting for the phone to ring. And when you got that call from the Oakland A's, just tell me about the conversation.
So yeah, I was actually a little heartbroken on day two because I was told to be like a late day two guy. So like after that happened, I was like, all right, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I just gotta keep believing. But my parents, so I was staying with my parents in a hotel room, and they actually went down to the beach while I took a nap. And then I woke up and I got a bunch of congratulation texts. And I was like, what is happening? And then I get the call from the A's, and Matt Higginson basically just said, hey, congrats, you just got picked in the 17th round. And I had no idea what to do. I just started pacing around my room. I was like, do I run down to the beach to get my parents? Do I call them? Like, I don't, there was so many things on my mind during that phone call. I was just filled with excitement. So I was just crazy, I guess.
Well, that's a crazy story. So you saw the text before you actually got the phone call
Yeah.
that you were selected. That's wild. What was your family's reaction like?
Oh, they were actually walking into the hotel room when they saw it pop up, and it played it through their Bluetooth speaker.
Oh,
So
no
they
way.
were in the middle of the hotel lobby and they just screamed like in front of everyone. So that was I'm really mad I missed that part because that would have been really funny to see.
Oh man, that's really cool. So, were the A's one of the teams on your radar? I'm sure you were talked to by a few teams. You can specify if you were or not, or what teams they were. But did the A's talk to you a lot? That you kind of expect maybe that if you were to be drafted, that it would be Oakland again, or were there a few other teams kind of in the mix?
Well, it started on day two. I was getting calls after the draft ended by the Tampa Bay Rays and then the New York Yankees. So I thought it was just going to be a bidding war between them. But the A's actually, like, they called me right after that conversation happened, and he asked me, like, could you get on a flight this week? Like, this is what's going down. You're going to be on our list. Like, it could happen. I can't guarantee you anything, but this is basically what you got to know. And I was like, okay, well, they were talking to me during season. I know the Northeast regional scout saw me throw a couple times. I think they came to the ODU outing, which I had, which was pretty good. But yeah, he was following me everywhere. He kept in contact a pretty good amount. So I knew they were always like watching me, but to pick me, it was just an honor, to be honest.
Well, take us through the entire process, Worm, because you had obviously 4 really good years at Seton Hill, but you elevated your game to another level your senior year. But when did scouts actually start really talking to you? And at what point, if you think back, did you really think like, okay, I really have a chance to be drafted?
So I think that comes with last year's summer ball. So I knew last year's season, like I did pretty good, but it wasn't to like the standard I was happy with. So when I went up to summer ball in the Great Lakes League with the Settlers, I made it a goal of mine to be like the best pitcher that I could possibly be. And I went there and I made the All-Star game. And that's when like I threw in front of like, I think there was a scout from every organization there. So they started talking to me after that. And then as soon as Seton Hill started, I didn't think about that at all. I just cared about getting 1% better every day and then focusing on the season at hand. I didn't care about pro ball at that point. I was just focused on getting a natty, hopefully.
And that's a great mindset to have because, the summer before your senior year, scouts start talking to you. Then anytime that you may notice scouts at your games for Seton Hill, then, that kind of gets in your mind a little bit. And I'm sure other guys, it does happen to, but you said you kind of blocked that out pretty well.
Yep. There was one outing. I remember it was one of my, on the bad side, there was a scout that was recording my pregame bullpen. And so I was a little amped up. So I think I threw one too many in the bullpen trying to impress him. And then I think the first inning I couldn't find the zone, but I settled in pretty good. And I think I went like 5 or 6. But yeah, it's really weird trying to block them out because you'll be on the mound and you have to be so focused in on a target. Like you'll just see guns pop up like all the time. You have to pay no attention to it.
Well, talk a little bit about your off season. Aidan this season had a tremendous year, 7-2 record, 3.15 ERA, 90 strikeouts, and 88 2/3 innings, helping Seton Hill get that close to getting back to Cary, North Carolina, and the Division II World Series. And with Kevin Voppel being drafted last year, the team badly needed someone to kind of step up, and a lot of you guys really did step up and have big years. Talking about the rotation, but you really took your game to another level this year. What was it in the offseason, if anything, that you did differently, Worm, to kind of get you ready and make your game get to that next level?
So actually, I have to give props to Rick here. I was noticing a lot of my hitting approach charts, and I was realizing I was getting beat away like to lefties. So I knew I needed a good pitch to like get in on lefties instead of like a front hip two seam that would probably leak over the plate a little bit more. So I worked on a cutter this offseason, and then I finally like found really good feel for my changeup. So I technically added 2 different pitches to my arsenal, which in conference play was a complete game changer because they thought I was just sinker slider, and I come with a cutter and changeup now. Like they had no idea until like later in the season, but it didn't matter.
I'd love to take any possible time to give Rick a shout out, any possible time that we can.
Yeah,
so,
love Rick.
Yeah, man, he's the MVP behind the scenes. There's no doubt. That's a really cool story that he was able to kind of help you along. So it was more developing additional pitches or refining your pitches than adding velo, or did that help too?
Well, I added 10 pounds, so I was sitting in season around 195, and in previous seasons I would drop to like 180. So that helped me maintain like a higher velocity the entire season, kept my arm healthy, like no problems. I didn't have to overcompensate for my body lacking. But yeah, I mean, it was a grind. I knew like the pitches I had, they were already good. Like I had great feel for them. I knew I just had to focus on those 2, and eventually everything would come together.
Well, you now become one of 4 former Seton Hill pitchers that are pitching professionally right now. It's so exciting. Jared Kolar, Kevin Voppel, Pat Monteverdi, and Aidan Layton. What does it mean to you to join those guys pitching professionally right now and have done it at Seton Hill University at a high level like those 3 I just mentioned?
I mean, Jerry and Kevin I played with, and it was an honor to even be in the same league as them or even try to chase their footsteps. They gave me a really good path to follow. And I can't speak much on Pat, but I know his work ethic was crazy. I actually lived in his room at 308, and his sticky notes above his bed were the same, and it said outwork everyone. So I would wake up and look at that, and I was like, all right, this is what he did to get there. I gotta do my part now. Like it's my turn.
Well, and not just those 4 guys, but now the list keeps on growing of draft picks from Seton Hill, of guys that have played professionally, whether they've been signed by a major league team or a team like the Washington Wild Things. Again, how proud does that make you to be a part of this community, this great Griffin family that I've seen grow since we started broadcasting games over a decade ago?
I mean, every single person at Seton Hill believed in me before I even had belief in myself. Like freshman year, I went through some mental health struggles, and sophomore year, I didn't have a good season. So junior year, I trained and reached out to people I needed. People were there to help me, and they knew like I had what it takes to get there. And having that belief helped me believe in myself more. So it made it a lot easier to have that mindset of I need to do this. Like, this is what I'm capable of, and this is why I'm doing this. Like, it's not just for me. It's for the guys that came before me. This is what I owe everyone who believed in me. So like that's what I like to do.
Maz, Tim Cronin, Clay Martin, three guys that I know that have meant a lot to your development. And you look at, other assistant coaches as well on the offensive side that I'm sure you spent some time with, like, Sully and Vinny and those guys. But how does Seton Hill develop guys that maybe don't even necessarily get drafted, but as not everyone comes in as a freshman like Jack Whalen or even thinking back to, I know this is before your time, but like a Nick Sell who won Player of the Year. He had an incredible freshman year. So did Jumbo, obviously, but that doesn't always happen. That doesn't happen very often. Guys come in and they develop, and eventually they get to where you got to, your senior year. How does Seton Hill, in your experience, kind of do that for guys?
So, actually, funny story. My freshman year, I got shut down because they do mobility tests for each and every individual player, and I failed everything possible. Well, I got shut down for months until I learned my correctives. But Seton Hill does, they develop players, but they start at the base. Like, you can't develop a player until they have a strong base, and that's what I think they tend to pay a lot of attention to make sure everyone's healthy. Like, I think we had one injury this year, and it was Whalen, sadly, in the playoffs in the PSAC. But we had no arm injuries. Vinny actually took care of us really well in the weight room this year. It was different than Sully's, but Sully helped me gain weight and strength, and then Vinny kind of helped me finalize my like stability, my mobility, and just overall control of my body. So I would say when it comes to development at Seton Hill, it comes from a mindset as well. And I feel like that's where I grew the most. Whether it wasn't physical, it would definitely be the mindset of baseball in general, and then how that leads to life and how you can separate it and balance it with each other.
This is maybe a tough question. I don't know, but do you have a favorite Griff baseball memory off the top of your head?
So the regional dog pile freshman year was a very, very great memory, but I have to say going to Cary was better. It was the experience with all the guys. And again, like, I was not in a good mindset, and that pretty much saved me. Like, hanging out with those guys, being able to compete at the highest level against those teams were just, it was unbelievable. Like, I still, like, looking back on it, I think I really did like overlook it being a freshman. I think I was like, oh, we'll get back here easy. It's not easy. And I could not stress that enough. Like, it's an achievement for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And you guys have won so many games, have come so close to getting back. You win a PSAC championship 2 seasons ago, I guess, technically. So you just never know. You just keep working at it and hoping that, you can get back to Cary. It's interesting, Worm. You're the only PSAC pitcher drafted. Why do you think that? What do you think set you apart from maybe some of the other guys? Because really, the PSAC has been a great ground for pitchers being drafted in the past.
Yeah, that surprised me like crazy, because I was playing down in North Carolina with Brent Francisco from ESU.
Yeah,
and I thought he was for sure going to go. And there was only 13 Division II picks this year in the draft, which really surprised me, because like there are some very high level D2 players that could compete at that level. But to be honest, I would just say the ability to throw multiple pitches for strikes when I want, no matter the count. I think that, and like my mindset on the mound, definitely set me apart from other pitchers. Like I feel like I had a flair out there. I feel like it was fun. I've had many people tell me like I'm a fun pitcher to watch, because like I keep it entertaining, I guess. I don't know. But yeah,
I would agree with that. Yeah.
That's it.
I would agree with that. It was especially fun to watch you, although I didn't get a chance to watch it, up close and personal. But when you struck out 14 against Millersville in the Atlantic Regional, that was absolutely one that will go in the record books as one of the best performances in a playoff game, I think, in Seton Hill history. So that'll be one that we remember for sure. So I want to finish the interview with just everything that's going on for you right now. I mean, when depending on when people watch this, I'm sure things will change to what you're doing right now. But as we record this on July 24th, what's going on with you right now? What's the next steps, and what are some of the things that you have gone through already? Is getting ready to pitch in the Oakland A's organization?
So yeah, it's been a stressful and grateful time at the same time. It's best of both worlds. So we got here, we got set up. Luckily, the transition was smooth, like no flight delays, nothing. So I got down here perfectly fine. Then we went through like orientation. So we had like couple meetings, individual meetings. Then we went through mobility assessments, physicals, and then we did urine testing and blood work. That was today. And then once that got cleared today, then we signed our contract today. So like that's basically, and then we had our first workout today at 10:30 and it was 102 degrees. So I was dying. And basically that went well. And then we have pitching meetings. I actually have my throwing program progress. I think I throw my first in game on the 16th of August. So I think that'll be my first like outing off a mound, like against live hitters, other than like batting practice or like a bullpen with a stand-in. So like, yeah, right now I'm pretty much going day by day. They send out a schedule. They say the bus leaves the hotel at this time. Don't miss it. And then the rest of your day, you walk into the clubhouse and like the rest of the day is like outlined. And then they send you like, they have like a mannequin set up of what to wear today, like that day. It's surreal, really. Like
I'm sure it's eye opening.
Oh yeah, it's insane. I never imagined it would be like this.
Well, hey man, continue to have fun with it. We're all rooting for you. We'll be following you just like we follow the other guys that I mentioned, and hopefully all four of you will be pitching in the majors someday. And I know Oakland at some point it will be moving to Vegas. Are you ready to roll the dice a little bit there?
I don't gamble, but 2020, did you see the new stadium? Oh,
Yes,
it looks crazy.
Unbelievable. And in Vegas it has to be. So
oh yeah.
Yeah, that looks just unbelievable. Again, Worm, thank you so much, man. I enjoyed every second of watching you pitch this year and every year at Seton Hill. And again, you were a lot of fun to watch. And again, congratulations and good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.